Good day, guys. Today I would like to discuss to you the Imperial Persecution from St. John 100 AD to the decree of Constantine 313 AD. Causes of persecution. First is pagan people or pagan worship hospitable to gods. What does it mean? Atheism was hospitable. Uh, it means that they are passionate. They love to welcome other form and objects of worship even though it is foreign to them, while Christian was exclusive. That's why Christian opposed all worship except their God. So second is idol worship interwoven with life. So images stood in every house receive adoration. What does it mean? If a pagan people example passed by uh, in a certain house, then when he saw there is a statue there stood beside the house, then what would he do is he will automatically render worship or adoration. But Christian does not do this. In every civic or provincial ceremony, the images were worshipped. That is why idol worship interwoven or become part of life in all activity and areas of pagan people. Third is emperor worship. Then emperor worship is one of the form of idolatry. So therefore, Christians would refuse to worship idol because for them, there is only one king, and that is Jesus. Then Judaism recognized that is the fourth causes of persecution. Then back then, Judaism was uh, government really, but it is permitted by the government as a religion during the time of Christian, the first generation, they were somehow acknowledged connected with the Jews. Hence, because of this kind of relationship, it spared and preserved the Christian from persecution. However, after the destruction of Jerusalem, the enemies of Christians started to pursue them because there is no law uh, we're going to protect them or operated or exist. Then fifth is secret meetings. The secret gathering of early Christians becomes suspicious. Why? Because they meet either before sunrise or at night and often in caves or catacombs undergrounds. And because of this, people think about them and spread rumors to many that they perform immorality or a murderous ceremony, and government was against of all sacred worship, just like what the Christian group uh, exercising, be- because to their thinking, this may result disloyal purpose. Sixth is equality in the church. So the social view of Christian, for Christian, I mean, that is that all men are equal. There would no distinction in its membership and its service. For example, or what does it mean? This means that even the slave has a right to be chosen as a bishop in the church. Hence, the early Christian regarded as levelers because of their kind of view within a society. So, levelers means who advocates the abolition of social distinctions, and also Christian regard as anarchist, which means who rebels against any authority established or ruling power and making them the social order become bad or undermined. Then this kind because of this kind of view of Christians toward the social community, it dragged them to become the enemies of the state. Last is business interest. Business interest frequently promoted or stirred the persecuting spirit. For example, like images maker and seller. So if they saw or recognize that their source of living put in their danger or would not anymore generate a profit for them, then persecuting spirit stir within them, and that's why it was for them easily to cry out Christian to the lion or put to death. Stages of persecution. First is Trajan to Antoninus Pius, 98 to 116 AD. From the reign of Trajan to Antoninus, the Christian was not recognized yet was not subjected to severe persecution. Nerva, Trajan, Antoninus, Hadrian, and Marcus Aurelius was known as the five good emperors. For them, Christians should not be arrested without a certain and proven complaint, but if they found of any charges, then the ruler will force, even though they do want to do it, but as an emperor, they have to carry out the law or execute it and sentence the Christians to death. Martyrs under of these emperors, Simeon or Simon. Simon reached the age 120 like the other brother of the Lord. He was crucified by the order of Roman governor of Palestine in 107 AD in the reign of Trajan. Second is Ignatius is a bishop of Antioch in Syria. He is more willing to be martyred, and on his way to Rome, he wrote the letter to the churches, hoping his death would not lose its honor. He was thrown to the wild beasts in the Roman amphitheater. Second is Marcus Aurelius, 161 AD to 180 AD. Marcus Aurelius is one of the best Roman emperor, and he also considered as the highest type of ethical writers. He is also considered a good and just ruler, yet he was a bitter persecutor of Christian. Why? Because he desired also to restore the old simplicity of Roman life, including their ancient religion. Probably for Marcus Aurelius, the Christian group is one it would be become one of the significant factor that his dream and desire in restoring the simplicity of Roman life, including their ancient religion, would be not happen because of Christian group. So he opposed Christian as innovator. In result, many Christian or thousand Christian believers were beheaded or devoured by the wild beast in the arena or stadium. Martyrs under Marcus Aurelius Polycarp, Justin in 16 AD. Then third is Septimius Severus, 202 to 211 AD. After the death of Marcus Aurelius, the period of confusion was followed. The succeeding emperor here was described weak and worthless. Their focus was on civil war, on their own pleasure to pay much attention to the Christian. However, in the reign of Septimius Severus, a fierce persecution arose, and everywhere in the place of Roman Empire, persecution occurred. He was also regarded by many Christian writers as the Antichrist. Then martyrs under this emperor is the father of theologian Origin. Then the lady of Carthage and her faithful slave Felicitas was thrown to the wild beast. Then fourth emperor is Decius. Under the reign of Caracalla, 211 to 217 AD, this emperor conferred citizenship upon every person, not a slave throughout the empire. Because of this decree of Emperor Caracalla, uh, Christians sought benefit from this decree, as they would no longer be crucified or thrown to the beast unless they were slaves. But in the time of the CEOs, this kind of favor towards the Christian was changed. The fierce persecution arose again. Though the persecution was severe, the slaughter of Christian ended for a time with his death. Then fifth is Valeria, 257 AD. More than 50 years of comparative rest followed the death of Decius, although there's a brief period of persecution before the comparative rest, and one of each is Valeria. Under a martyr under of this emperor is Cyprian, Bishop of Carthage, one of the great writers and church leaders of the period one of the date, and also the Roman bishop Sixtus 258 AD. Last is Diocletic 300 to 310 AD. In the time of Diocletic, this is the most systematic and most terrible persecution of all the series was took place in the reign of in the church history. Then Diocletic ordered that it should be all the copy of the Bible should be burned, that all the churches also who had arisen throughout the empire at the time during the half centuries should be torn down, and that and all not renounce and that all not renounce the Christian religion should be also their lost their citizenship and be outside the protection of the law. Then Diocletic also uh uh one of the emperor who pursue Christians, churches are set on fire and burned with the worshipper inside the church. And thus, Emperor Diocletic erected a pillar with the inscription of extirpation or destroying of Christian superstitious. Diocletic also established a huge structure of bath in Rome by forcing the Christian to slave to work. But after the 12th century of reign of Diocletic, a portion of his building was transformed by Michelangelo into the Church of Santa Maria degli Angeli, and it was consecrated in 1561 AD. Then the successor and subordinate of Diocletic continued the persecution for 6 years. This guy was Galerius and Constantinos. Then yet within 70 years, Christianity became the official religion of the emperor, court, and the empire. Then before the conversion of uh, Emperor Constantine, uh, he issued his memorable decree of tolerance in 313 AD. Through this law, the Christian was sanctioned or permit deemed that their worship was become lawful or legal, and all the form of persecution should be stopped or ceased. And this decree will not change until the Roman Empire is existing or endured. Thank you for listening. Here's my reference, G.C. Halbert, The Story of the Christian Church, page 40 to 45. God bless us all.